Well, would you look at this? Coming along. You leave for one day, I tell you what, go to a farm show and it's starting to look like a grain bin. I'm excited. Well, would you look at this? We've got Big Bob 2.0. He just showed up.
Well, here's a true definition of irony. I am out here with our disc to work down some weeds that are growing in a belly in the center of the field because we couldn't plant it this spring because it was too wet. And now it has turned to a drought this summer, and this corn has tasseled at 4 feet tall. It won't do anything. And that's a lot of this field actually out here. Anywhere where it was planted wet, kind of mudded in, sheared the sidewall so the roots couldn't go anywhere. They're struggling the most because those roots just aren't reaching any available water. Also compaction sites where we were loading semis and whatnot last fall, but no matter what, when you get no rain, which this is our most northern field and it has missed most of the rains, there's nothing you can do. So, yep. Fortunately, not all the corn looks like this in our fields, but this is one of the worst. I kind of like this IVT. It's really good for jumping into ditches. Alright, I'm going out into the field. Got to get rid of the weeds. Yeah, this is a little slower than the 5200. It's working okay. Yeah, this whole spot was way too wet this spring, obviously. That's why it's not planted. And I sprayed around it doing pre-emerge when we put down our triple flex, which is a great chemical for weed suppression, but sprayed around because our carrier is 28% and I didn't want to waste a bunch of fertilizer where we don't even have crop planted. And then I did spray through this when we were doing post-emerge spraying, which it knocked the weeds down then, but they're back. They're back. So we bring in the best chemical of all, the disc. Okay, we're done. She's ready to be planted, Duggo. You know, it is Doug's birthday today, 54 years old. So happy birthday, Duggo.
Brody!
Not cool.
What are you doing? You getting ready for fungicide?
Send her.
He's gonna send her. So you did a nozzle flush and switch?
Yes, I did.
Where's the big Swede?
I don't know. I was texting him and he was not
Sleeping?
coming to work today.
Oh, come on now. He'll be here.
I only have one, I have no spare nozzles.
don't break any then.
That's gonna happen, I think.
Well, would you look at this? Coming along. You leave for one day, I tell you what, go to a farm show and it's starting to look like a grain bin. I'm excited. This one's got a, so we're actually not putting a staircase on this grain bin here. The staircase is on that bin. We're gonna go up that bin, up on the roof, back down the roof to this staircase that they're building right here. It's gonna come down 2 rings, and then there's going to be a platform and a walkway across the 2. So cheapening it up, number 1. We don't need to put 2 ladders on when there's already one there. And also less walking. Who wants to go up 2 sets of stairs to check bends in that time of the year? So yeah, that's heavy duty. And then that beam there, I don't know if you can see it, but that is what the double run grain pump is going to, since we can't gravity flow from from our grain leg to the top of the bin. It's going to dump into this bin's drag conveyor. It's going to go up to the top of this bin, and then into another drag conveyor or double run to the top of that bin. So that's how we got her set up here. It's gonna be slick once it's together. So if it isn't obvious, they start by building the roof, and they put the first bottom sheet up, then start building the roof, and then they got these giant jacks that hopefully I'll be able to show you later. I can't get in the bin, they put the sheet in where they get in there, but then they got these giant jacks that bolt onto the bottom sheet, and then they raise it up about 3 feet is what one ring is, so they maybe go about 40 inches up, and then they put on another ring, and then they tie the bend jack to that ring, and on and on and on and on until they've got it all the way up. What I would love to know is how many impact guns and sockets them guys go through, because there's like 2 or 3 pallets of bolts that go in that bin, and every one of them is threaded on by hand and tightened by hand, and I just can't imagine how their impact guns don't burn up, and when they get in a rhythm going, all you hear is bap, 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 bap. They get like 8 guys and impact guns going. It's loud. There's a bit of a language barrier down there.
I believe that.
I can't really talk to him.
There's one guy I heard.
One guy that speaks English. So it's kind of hard to ask questions. And
I know Spanish.
do you?
Yeah.
Well, why weren't you there?
I'm kidding.
There's a 3/4-inch drive here. Can we use that?
Take the step off.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we gotta take the step off so he can get through the tall soybeans without damaging less. Well, would you look at this? We've got Big Bob 2.0. He just showed up. So this is a brand new T770. It's got 1.2 hours on it. For the most part, it's the same exact machine. They did do some updates from my understanding. Different drive wheel here. And what else did he say? Different fuel filter setup for guys that were having issues with gelling up in the winter. I guess that's a lot better design. Otherwise, it's basically the same machine. We did decide to keep our old bucket because the other one was an 80-inch wide. This is an 88-inch wide, which they no longer make. They make like an 84, I think he said. But we want more width, more capacity, so we decided to stay with our old bucket, which there's nothing wrong with. So that brings you to the interior, which basically is exactly the same. They have not changed much. So this one has ride control also. Our other one had that, but now it's electronic, so I can turn that off. And what ride control is where the booms shock absorb themselves basically when you're going on bumps. It kind of keeps your load smooth. Well, I couldn't turn that off unless I got in the engine bay and turned a manual lever. Now I can turn that off right here. And this one has a reversing engine fan, which ours did not have, which will be nice when you're mowing, is where you got a lot of grass clippings up on your radiator and would overheat your engine sometimes. But for the most part, it's a twin. It's a lot quieter in the cab, I'll tell you that.
Yes.
I suppose you want to drive it.
Well, yeah, why are you in there? Oh, that's a nice looking seat, too. It's all polka dotted. So, of course, now we're going to have trouble with Eric right off the bat.
Why?
Well, he's Mr. Window Open type of guy, you know? I don't understand them guys. Gotta have the window open all the time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we don't want to get dust in
Then
this
I have to have I'll get a sticky note and start writing little things on, don't do this, don't do that, you know. Well, I suppose it'll get dirty someday, but not today.
Yeah.
What about that air ride? Not an air ride, a new switch is put in where?
Oh, I talked about it, the automatic
okay.
ride control.
Okay. Well then,
So this one came out of Dassel, Minnesota, a couple hours away from here, but it's where we bought our other one. How many did he say he sells a year? Like 930?
it's a lot.
Can't even fathom that
That's a
many.
lot. So, how many mechanics do they have then?
So yeah, like I said, it's just very noticeable. It sounds a lot different in the cab. Definitely quieter, which is awesome. So I bring it into the shop. We are gonna put a Midland radio in this instead of a CB. We did, as you guys seen in previous videos, I did have a two-way in here, but we're gonna eliminate the CB being in here, trying to phase out of CBs into Midlands. A lot of our equipment has a CB in it and a Midland just because we didn't want to take them out and we were testing them, and well, we like the Midland radios, so we are phasing everything into that eventually as we replace equipment and so on and so forth. So we're just going to put a Midland in there, and when I get time, I'll do that. And also I can save you some money, and the link in the description on Midland radios. If you guys are interested, that's what we use on our farm for communications. I think there's a discount code there too. All right, the day is almost over, or it is over. They just took off, and we're at what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rings and 3 wind rings. So the wind rings are essentially, well, pretty straightforward. They're those things up there, help for the bend not to get crushed in by wind, storms, our wet bend. There is a prime example. Not enough wind rings. We actually added rings to that bend without stiffening, making it stronger, and look at what happened. It's gone. So wind rings, very important. I believe these are wind rated for 120 mile per hour winds now. We've upgraded the bolt size, very cheap thing to do to make sure it's secured to the cement properly. And then I can't remember what the standard wind rating is for this area. It kind of goes off of where you're based, but we upgraded it to the 120 just because you got a lot of expense and nobody likes to clean up bends that are crushed and see the destruction and waste. So we did upgrade this to 120 mile per hour wind, along with, I believe that one's also 120. I'm not sure what that one is. That was built before I was old enough to be involved. There goes Brody! Brody! Get her done! So basically, guys, if you are building a grain bin, I highly suggest upsizing bolt on what fastens it to the cement, and make sure you up the wind. I mean, you never know. Who would have guessed 2 tornadoes would have came through this yard in a matter of 2 weeks and destroy everything. So that's cheap insurance in my opinion. So let's see if I can get inside this thing. I want to see when they're not in there making so much noise. How do they fit in there? I want to get in there. Oh gosh! Ah, that is a tight fit. Whew. Wow. So this is what it looks like inside when they're building. So like I was talking about, the bend jacks that raise up the whole bend. I gotta talk quieter because it's echoing. This is what it looks like. So can I see here? They've got the next row set up, or next ring set up, but right here they bolt it on, and then it goes up to this pulley mechanism, big cylinder, raises the whole bend, so on and so forth. Pretty straightforward. A lot of expensive equipment here that I am not going to touch and have no idea how to operate, that runs all that stuff. I'm sure it's pretty sketchy keeping it all level as they're going up 70 feet with it, but this is what it looks like. I bet it gets really hot in here and the sun is baking. Yeah, so what you're looking at here will be 70 feet up in a couple of days. Oh, God. Ah, that's horrible. No wonder they don't come out once they're in there. So some of you guys might be wondering, is this bend getting built for the bends that we lost and that got damaged? No, actually this was going to be built regardless. We started to farm more acres due to Eric and just picked up some more ground on top of that. So we needed more storage because we're just too far away from town to, that's why we have the bend site we have, is because we just can't fall deliver it. You'd have to have so many people and just, it don't work. The logistics of it don't work for our farm. So we got to have storage on the farm. So work out getting out of there. So anyways, this was supposed to, you know, be additional storage. Well, now it's a 200,000 bushel bin, and we lost, like confirmed lost, 50,000 bushels. We have a 70,000 bushel bin that the roof is collapsed in from a spout falling off and landing on it. Actually, we have 2 of them, but one of them probably won't be able to be used, but will be getting fixed. Anyways, so we're gaining roughly, once those roofs are fixed, 150,000 bushels of storage, which we wanted 200,000, but it's going to be what it's going to be for this year, or for maybe the foreseeable future. But I'm just glad this was on the books, because losing that storage would have been a big deal, especially with added acres. So as far as this goes, this will be ready to go come fall harvest. Our wet bin is also supposed to be showing up here shortly. In the economy that we're in, and everything being so delayed and not showing up and you can't get anything, we were very surprised when we called Pro Steel, our Brock dealer, and found out that grain bins were 8 weeks out. Well, that was obviously 2 months ago. So shortly that bin will be here, and they'll be able to put that one up, the wet bin, replacing the storm damaged one. And yeah, we are very pleased with the product availability, and actually quite honestly amazed when all you ever hear is, nope, back ordered, can't get it. Anyways, they're going to continue on the project. I'm going to continue to keep you guys updated, and I think I have a Brock rep coming out tomorrow, and we're going to go over a few things, and he's just going to see how the project's going and staying on pace, I guess. So this is Bill, the rep for the project, or the area?
Yeah, I'm the district sales manager for Brock Grain Systems, yep.
Okay. So he's come out today, see how the project's going, and talk a little bit about what we got going on.
Yeah, we're actually got a video crew here as well today, with along with what Chet's doing.
Way on the sun side, guys.
And we're just looking over what's going on with the bin. As you can see, they're kind of mid-build here. We've got the roof, and they're putting the body sheets up, and right now they're just about ready to add another wind ring to this tank. As we well know, wind is a concern in this part of the world, but we also put wind rings on the tank to stabilize them depending upon the size of the bin. And then this bin will have a side discharge in it. Two of them. Are they going to be on opposite sides or in the same spot?
I believe right where we're standing here, the south side, we're going to have one that loads into a semi, just like the one on that grain bin. And then what did we do? We put one in the lower corner, basically.
Second tier.
Yeah.
Second down by the conveyor, so we're not going to need to run the unload auger in the bin as much, trying to save some
Electricity, wear and tear on the equipment.
Right, absolutely.
And gravity flow right into the conveyor, and no plugging issues if there is such as chunks.
Yep, which can happen.
Grain.
One of the things with side discharge systems that doesn't get talked about a lot, but it's actually one of the nicest benefits of it. You know, when you fill your grain bin, all the fines want to stay in the middle. Mm-hmm. And then if you unload with your center well from your unload system, first 4 or 5 semi-loads have a lot of fines in it. You take it to the elevator and they want to dock you for too much FM and those kinds of things. When you use a side discharge system, because of the way they work, they're pulling grain off the top of the pile from all parts of the bin. So the sample in your truck ends up being a representative sample of everything in the bin. You don't get all the fines at one time. And so it doesn't seem like a big thing, but you can just come in, unload it, or load a truck, take it to the elevator and feel confident that you're not going to get docked because you had all those fines that show up in the middle of the tank.
Let's go around to that side and keep talking. I like it.
So your recon conveyor is going to be where?
We are going to be coming out of the northwest corner, basically, to reclaim it back to the overhead.
So you're going to have one side draw here for the trucks,
for the semi,
and the other one over there for the conveyor.
Yeah. So we kind of are setting this grain bin up for future. If we ever add additional bins to go to the east.
Okay.
So then both future is some more buildings are going to be leaving. Hopefully, if I can convince Yeah.
Hard to get rid of, isn't it?
I was wrecking something.
Yeah.
So plan is then we can shoot through that area that is not opened up yet and hit this
For your,
bend,
your truck traffic.
and hit this bend, and maybe, plan for the future of maybe a bend to the east of this one.
Okay. So that was one of the things that you had to consider when you decided where to put this bin.
Yeah.
Is not only where it fits into your operation now so you can feed it appropriately and reclaim it appropriately, but where your truck traffic's going to be ultimately,
Yep.
and what your future plans would be. So
Definitely.
probably just the small building? You
Maybe
would-
this one. There's lots of projects here. As you see, that one's leaving. We have a friend of one of our truck drivers taking that down
Okay.
piece by piece. Where you're
He's
standing.
got more ambition than I do. I would not be signing my name up for that project.
Where we're standing now, we removed some barns this spring. So
Yep.
that was another encouraging thing. Let's build a bend here to force us to remove some buildings.
I don't know if it was a discussion or just an argument. I wanted this bend over next to the driveway. So the future plan is, if any more bends get built, there'll be 4 of them sitting on the south side of the driveway now, being all reclaimed to the conveyor so we can take it back to the overhead.
So we sat down with our local dealer, it's many meetings to decide, what's the best plan, what's the economical cost, because drag conveyors are very expensive to reclaim. So how can we position it so that we can hit one drag conveyor instead of, going
Sure.
multiple runs
Right.
with drag conveyors back. So that was kind of how we decided this location. One drag conveyor this time instead of 2. Would have had to have 2 conveyors if we were going to the east. So to keep this project more affordable, we decided to place it here. And then the next time we build to the east here, we will then add another drag conveyor. Then
That'll just piggyback on top of the existing.
Yep, connect to the
Yep.
one we were putting in this time, and should work out pretty good. I'm
So
hoping.
as usual, us trying to cut a corner now, we'll wait for a few more years till the price of a conveyor goes up a little bit more. So when we have to add that, we should have maybe just done it the other way, bought 2 conveyors now, because as we all know, it just gets to be more expensive when you wait.